Welcome to the Professional Evil Perspective. We're in season 3, but unlike Ted Lasso or The Marvelous Maisel, we're not finished this year. It was episode 9. I'm Kevin Johnson.
And I'm Nathan Sweaney.
So I just watched the series finale for Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
And like a week or two ago, I don't remember, I watched the series finale for The Marvelous Miss Maisel. And I will tell you that the Ted Lasso series finale made me cry. Multiple times I teared up. My wife made fun of me. But it was a great, no spoilers. I'm just going to say, if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, you're a loser. And
see, I can watch it now. I haven't started it because I don't like shows stopping in the middle. Right.
And let me be very clear, Nathan. When I started the Ted Lasso show, whatever time frame ago it was, this was not a show I was going to enjoy. It's about sports, right? Like I don't know this stuff, and like let me give you an example. I was just down in Orlando. I was doing a talk, and it is a talk I give about strong link, weak link.
Yeah. We had this conversation. Yeah,
right. And I could not remember the name of the position on a football team, like American football team. And so I described it as, the guy in the middle. And somebody in the audience, it might have been Jennifer, but somebody in the audience went, "Do you mean the center?" And I went, "Yeah, the middle." And they're like, "No, the position's called the center." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're right."
Oh, man. Oh,
like I couldn't think of it. It was the guy in the middle.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
But the Ted Lasso show, the humor in it is just awesome.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to check it out.
What are we talking about today, Nathan?
So I got an email from we did a webinar with Anti-Siphon a few days ago, Kathy and I.
I was going to say, it was you and Kathy.
Yeah. And it was fun. We talked about like IoT devices, and all the crazy network things that people plug into the network, and just it was a fun chat. But somebody emailed us back and said, "Hey, I've got a question. What do you think about internal SSL, TLS vulnerabilities on the internal network?" The short version is their coworker was like, "We don't need to worry about that stuff because it's internal and our outside network is fine. And so we're good. Like we need to put our resources somewhere else."
Yeah.
You and I enjoy conversations about SSL so much.
Yes.
You know what? We should just record this.
I will say that when for anybody listening, and I know at least one person is listening or at least they have listened.
Yeah.
Because they told me when I was down in Orlando. They could have lied.
They could have lied.
They could have lied. But
social engineering.
When you said to me, "Hey, why don't we talk about TLS?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to talk about TLS. I don't want to talk about TLS. Don't make me talk about TLS." And then you're like, "I got this letter," and I'm like, "I'm in. Let's do it." Like, done. Let's talk about this guy. And I want to be very clear that I'm about to make fun of somebody I don't know.
Well, to be clear, this guy was saying, like,
no, wait. I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay, I want to make
so. Not only do I not know the guy because I didn't receive the email, but he's not the guy that sent the email.
Yeah.
Right. Like my coworker. And I'm hoping, because I'm about to make fun of this guy, I'm hoping that this isn't like I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he really means himself.
My friend Bob said this.
Because this idea, let's ignore SSL and TLS for a second. But this idea that, well, it's internal, so it's safe.
Right.
Is so 1873, right? Like
that made sense back in the late 1900s.
Right. Yes. Way back in, the last century. My goodness, it's 2023. Has this person not read the headlines?
Yeah.
I hate to say it like that because I don't like, okay, that's not true. I like making fun of people.
Yeah.
One of my favorite YouTube channels are all of the fail army type. That person slid down a hill. So
I'm in a Facebook group you'd appreciate. It's called Dangerous Grinder Attachments. And
why have you not invited me to this Facebook group?
It's great.
Oh my goodness! Please invite me to that group.
Yeah.
Brenna is in some group that's like stares with ominous intent or something like that. And she shows me pictures of like, oh damn. But like this idea that internal networks are safe. That this idea, right, is just that to me shows I am not repeating what Kathy just typed, and which is what the laughing is. You guys have too many vowels, but
oh no,
what's wrong?
Oh no, sorry, we're chasing rabbits here.
Oh yeah, wait, do people expect anything different?
This website is gone. Braco.
No, that wasn't his website.
Yes, it was, because I've had it linked.
Oh,
so I gotta share. There's this.
I'm so sad.
Person, this man with.
You said person like we don't really believe he's personal. He's a person.
I don't know if he's real. He has this long flowing white hair, and he sells this service. I guess he has just this really intense gaze, and he has this service where he will come to your event, to your corporate board, to your whatever, and he will just stare at you. And people, like, he has all these quotes and comments from people that have like had transcendent emotional responses to his stare. And there's a YouTube channel where it's like he just stares at you,
and you pay for it.
And you pay for
like
it. Yeah.
You pay to be gazed at.
Yeah, Braco's gaze.
Yes.
Anyway, the domain is no longer.
That's so sad.
Yeah. Sad.
I do know that in 2016, according to Reddit, he was suspected of murder.
Oh, I did not know that.
That's according to Reddit, and everything on Reddit is
awesome.
True.
Okay.
So what I was going to get at was like this idea that there are more serious flaws than the internal network.
Yeah.
That implies two things, and both may be true. One, this person really doesn't understand how to do a risk assessment, whatever.
Yeah.
That's very possible. Or two, and if this is true, it's worse. Their external network is so vulnerable that your internal network's the same anyways, right? Like
that could be. Yeah.
Like maybe they have so many. I would hope that it's not I don't really understand risks.
Yeah.
I would hope that we have so many like we've worked with companies like that, right?
Yeah.
They've acquired an organization, and when they brought the organization in, they went, "Oh my gosh, this is so bad. We've got to focus."
Like
on
we've
this.
got command injection on our external website.
Right.
Internal
Let's not worry about SSL yet. Yeah.
And
if it's that, I can agree with it.
Well,
internal SSL problems like, we're running SSL 1, right, is less worrisome than critical findings on the external network. But the implication of the message, because I've seen the message, right?
Yeah.
The implication of the message is this person doesn't think internal problems are serious.
Yeah.
Now, I will agree that InfoSec, auditors, whatever, put too much risk.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
On SSL. Like I've said it. I said it the other day at a talk I was giving, and I know, Nathan, you've done it. I don't know of, and this is not me saying absolutely not. I've asked for years. I've talked to people for years. I am not aware of a single breach that was caused by the use of an insecure configuration of SSL. And I don't mean like heartbleed. Well, to me, that was a vulnerability in the way. Right?
I'll push back on that a little bit, because I mostly agree with you, but I think there's a difference between weak configurations such as weak cipher suites or bad hashes or stuff like that. Like there's weak configurations of SSL. There's old versions, right? You got TLS 1.1 or 1.0 or whatever. Like those things, nobody's exploiting those in the wild.
And that's what
I would argue to say it's never happened, right?
I don't like absolutes, but I've asked so many times that this is one of those ones that I think I'm accepting of an absolute.
We've looked and tried to find other consultants and incident responders. Like we've tried to find evidence of this. It just doesn't happen. Like there are weaknesses in some of those configurations and versions that can be exploited in a lab environment or whatever, but they're just not practical for a real world attack. But where I'll push back a little bit is when we start looking at self-signed certs or expired certificates or stuff like that.
Yep.
What that does is that allows an opportunity for social engineering, because you're training people to just
See, I agree with you. But I actually think the worst issue there is, to me, when I see self-signed certs and expired certs and things like that, I don't think of that as an SSL problem.
Exactly.
I think of that as an administration problem.
Yeah.
You aren't maintaining your network correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, it also trains the user. It opens them up to social engineering, worse things like that. But you aren't administering this correctly.
Exactly.
If you are allowing those to expire. So yes, absolutely. I would treat those separate.
Yeah. It's an important distinction, because like, you run a Nessus scan or Qualys scan or whatever, and it's going to show all of these as SSL issues. But like you said, the hey, this is not configured properly with a valid cert. That's not a configuration problem. That's an administration problem, really.
Right.
So back to the internal versus external thing and all that. I think there's another interesting point there about the difference between like different types of internal networks. Like, hey, I'm a small mom and pop, store or whatever, and our internal network, like everything's on one flat network, versus, right, hey, I'm a corporation and I have a server network that's highly segmented and nobody has access to it, and there's no regular users on it. There's a difference there. You know what I mean? As far as like how secure that needs to be, or how big a deal TLS is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think the other issue is compliance and regulatory stuff, because we've all seen like PCI or other audits come back and say, oh, you have all these problems.
Well, and this is where I go to, we've put too much on this.
Yeah.
Because think about that one customer of ours. Eric and I go on site to assess their printer configurations, and that's such an oddly specific job.
Yeah.
But there was good reason for it. Like when they came to us and asked us for it, we talked to them about it, right? And Eric and I go on site. They've got like 10 types of printers, and they've configured them, locked them down. They're doing this stuff, and we test them, and we're like, okay, small problem. None of the services offered by these printers are encrypted. And that's weird to us, because at least half of the models, the default is to have an encrypted channel to talk to it.
Yeah.
So that implies you turned off encryption. And their answer was, oh yeah, we did.
I know.
And like, honestly, when they said it, I still remember Eric's face. Like, Eric went, what? Because there was no way you purposely turned off encryption. Yeah. No, they did. And the reason they did it was because their audit department was using Qualys to scan the network. That's fine, whatever, yeah, right? And Qualys was like, self-sign. And they looked at it and they're like, look, these printers don't give us the option, or whatever, right? That was their answer. I didn't vet that. Like, we don't have the ability to put our cert on it, right? And so they turned off encryption. Now, here's the part I think is so funny about that. Let's ignore the fact that they now are sending print jobs at it was a financial services organization, right? Unencrypted across the network. Their audit department showed their technical chops by then accepting the fact that Qualys didn't report anything wrong with those printers. Yeah. It was like, oh, it's good. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, man. We've seen the same thing with PCI. It's like, hey, we can't do this in a compliant manner, so let's just take that off, right? And then find a way that it doesn't. It's not that it's more secure. It's just that the auditor's not going to notice now.
The thing the auditor triggers on is not there, right? Like the auditor sees weak SSL, they trigger on it. They're looking for the wrong thing. They're not looking for an insecure configuration. They are looking for a specific wrong setting.
Yep.
And that's just the problem. I know, without even asking, I know that you wrote back to this person and said, your coworker's an idiot.
That sounds so much like me. That's exactly how I
would have said, your coworker's an idiot.
No.
You would have said it much politer.
You would have said that last year. Now you would have said, Chat GPT, make this sound nicer for me.
Yep.
Kevin's looking for an example. For those that he's pulling up Chat GPT, I bet. So the context here, the other day, Kevin sends a fairly strongly worded email back to a procurement group at a client we're working with. And I read through it and I immediately knew Kevin did not write that. Because normally he writes something harsh and then he'll come to Jason or I and say, hey, does this sound too mean?
And the answer always is, Jason's default answer is, if I say, is this too rude? Jason's answer is yes. And one time I said to him, like, you didn't even read it. He's like, the fact you're asking tells me it is. Okay. You may not have fully considered all aspects of the situation. You seem to be struggling with grasping certain concepts. You may have some areas where you could improve your understanding. Those are 3 ways to make you're an idiot.
Sound nicer.
Politer.
That's awesome.
Remember, it's important to approach conversations with respect and empathy, even when discussing someone's intellectual abilities. That is the concluding sentence that
oh my God.
ChatGPT gave me.
So it gave you like feedback, not just here's what you asked for, but...
So here's what I said. I said, can you tell me how to say someone is an idiot politely?
Yeah.
And it said, when expressing your opinion about someone's intelligence in a polite manner, it is essential to choose your words carefully to avoid causing offense. Instead of using derogatory terms like idiot, put that in quotes, it's better to focus on constructive criticism or finding a more diplomatic way to convey your message. Here are a few examples, and then gave me 5.
That's awesome. Oh man, I love.
And then gave me that last sentence. I will tell you right now, I love ChatGPT. I do, and it's awesome.
I'm really tempted to send this guy's email through ChatGPT and see if it comes up with a better response than I did, because I think my response was pretty good and pretty detailed, but I'm curious if the AI could do better. Cool. All right. Well, it looks like Josh found a new link for Braco, so I know what I'm going to be doing.
Okay, that was the one I knew.
I don't think so. That's the maybe the other was just a shortcut. Like maybe it was just a redirect or whatever to the...
Yeah, this is the site I knew.
Yeah, it's the same site. The other URL is the one that we always used previously.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, Kevin. Good episode. I'll chat with you.
Man, I appreciate your time. And now for the rest of the story. No, that's somebody else's, Mark. We're still working on it. If you know a closing sentence that you would like to hear us say, that's appropriate.
That's appropriate. Let's
send it in.
Have you ever listened to oh gosh, the art of...
That's a weird name.
The Art of Manliness. I think Art of Manliness.
No, you've asked me this before. We've had this conversation before. I can't listen to a podcast called The Art of Manliness.
It's really good.
I just can't do it.
It's really good. It's nothing to do with manliness. I'm sure that's probably where you
said that. Like, yeah, you said that the last time we talked about it. I don't know. Yeah. I can't bring myself to do it.
He wraps up everyone with something like, and take what you've learned. How does he say that? And put what you've learned into action.
Oh, that's a good one.
Put what you've learned into action. Hey, yeah, you've got ChatGPT there. Ask it how we should.
I'm not asking it. So thank you very much, everybody. And please tune in next time when Nathan will do the introduction and we'll see what he does instead of what I did.
Awesome. Later, Kevin.